Cardi B going on a live rant, telling thousands of listeners that she wants her estranged husband to die slowly in a bed, thinking about her, is the kind of statement that makes you stop scrolling. And the reason she gave for wanting that paints a picture of a marriage that ended not with silence, but with fire. So here's the full story of Cardi B and Offset, how it started, how it fell apart, and exactly what pushed her to say what she said. On May 30th, 2025, Cardi B jumped on X Spaces and said something that made global headlines. She was angry, she was hurt, and she was done pretending otherwise. Cardi was responding to Offset's recent move in their divorce proceedings, which now included a request for spousal support. She said, "Word to my mother, I want you to die, but I want you to die slow. And while you're dying, Saad, you got to think of me." That was not something said offhand. That was a woman who had reached the limit of what she was willing to take. But why? What could possibly push a woman, the mother of his 3 children, to say something like that on a public platform, knowing millions of people were listening? Cardi said that the reports of Offset pursuing spousal support ruined her day. And during the heated session on X Spaces, she vented her frustrations, making it clear that she feels deeply betrayed by her estranged husband. She said she hoped Offset dies a slow death in a bed haunted with the thoughts of the wife he left behind. She fumed that she not only never asked Music Offset for a dime, but she doesn't keep him away from the kids. Yet, he stood them up multiple times when they were expecting to see him. And when some people pushed back, reminding her she chose to build a life with this man, she didn't back down. She said, "Yeah, he is. That's why I don't wish him death. But I truly hate this dirty, narcissistic piece of shit, and his family and his friends never check him." She added, "He really is just a dark cloud on anybody's life he enters." Even going as far as to say, "I don't want him dead, but I want him hit by a truck." Music. Now, these aren't statements that exist in a vacuum. This level of anger doesn't just appear overnight. There's a timeline to this. A history of events that built up like tectonic plates, grinding against each other, until the eruption finally came. Cardi also pointed out that Offset has only seen their toddler daughter about 5 times since her birth in September 2024. Yet she emphasized that she has made efforts to facilitate visits, yet Offset still refuses to travel to New York City to see them, preferring not to stay in a hotel. And then there's the money. Offset is reportedly neck-deep in a nearly $2 million tax debt. In March 2025, the Georgia Department of Revenue filed a state tax lien against Offset, initially citing a debt of $167,916.02. Music. However, this amount surged to $294,712 due to accruing interest, penalties, and additional fees. Then on April 23rd, the IRS also imposed a tax lien on him, alleging that he had failed to pay over $1.5 million in federal income taxes for the year 2021. The total liabilities from both liens now amount to $1,866,978.73. Music. So this is a man who allegedly isn't seeing his kids, allegedly isn't supporting them financially, and is now asking the court to make Cardi pay him. That is what set her off, but the spousal support issue was only the final match thrown into a room full of gasoline. To understand the full picture, we need to go back to the beginning. Cardi B and Offset's relationship didn't start like most celebrity romances. There was no fairy tale introduction at a gala. Offset and Cardi B met at an industry party event in 2016 in New York. He was already famous, 1/3 of Migos, riding the wave of hits that had reshaped the sound of music hip-hop from the ground up. She was a rising star from the Bronx, fresh off her breakout on Love and Hip Hop, with a personality that ate up every camera it encountered. The chemistry between them was raw, unpolished, and immediate. Their first official public date was in February 2017 at Super Bowl 51 in Houston. The two were photographed holding hands at the big game, which Cardi previously said was the point when their relationship became serious. She told her publicist at the time that if they were going public, he could not make her look foolish afterward. His response, relayed through her team, was simple. He was really feeling her. Things moved at a breathtaking pace after that. The pair teased their first collaboration music in December 2016, and the track Lick came out in January 2017. Although the video didn't come out music until May, by the summer the relationship rumors were everywhere. And then came a moment music that stunned the music world. In October of 2017, Offset proposed to Cardi B on stage at a concert with a $500,000 ring. Fans lost their minds. It was extravagant. It was public. It was everything that Cardi, and a self-described romantic at heart, could have wanted. But here's the twist that nobody knew about at the time. Music Cardi and Offset had actually secretly married on September 20th, 2017, before the Migos rapper proposed to her on stage at Power 99's Powerhouse concert in Philadelphia in October that same year. Music. The public proposal was in a way theatre, a beautiful, dramatic gesture performed for a woman he had already legally committed to. When this information leaked months later via a marriage certificate obtained by TMZ, the internet went haywire. Cardi handled the revelation with her characteristic bluntness. There are so many moments that I share with the world. Music. And then there are moments that I want to keep for myself. Getting married was one of those moments, she said. Our relationship was so new. She breaking up and making up, and we had a lot of growing up to do, but we were so in love, we didn't want to lose each other. One morning in September, we woke up and decided to get married. We found someone to marry us, and she did. Just the two of us and my cousin. No dress, no makeup, no ring, music, just two people who were wildly, recklessly in love, making a decision that would define both of their lives for the next 7 years. Music. In April 2018, Cardi confirmed her pregnancy on Saturday Night Live. A moment of sheer power, standing under the studio lights in a white dress that revealed her baby bump to millions of viewers. Music. In July, she welcomed their daughter, Cultura Chiari Cephas. The name was chosen by Offset. Music. A detail Cardi shared warmly during press appearances. Everything appeared to be lining up for them. The career, music, the family, the life together. But it wasn't. Behind the red carpet smiles and the collaborative tracks, the marriage was already fracturing. Offset's infidelity was the open music wound that would never fully heal. In 2018, cheating allegations surfaced with devastating force. Offset was accused of cheating on Cardi B. He was found cheating with someone and even videotaped the act. Following news of their split, Offset's alleged mistress, Summer Bunny, spoke out about the situation and issued an apology to Cardi. I have not messed with Offset since he had his baby. I didn't know how serious his marriage was. Music. You know, I feel ashamed, she claimed. By December 2018, Cardi announced they were done. Soccer arm music. Things just haven't been working out between us for a long time, she told fans. And it's nobody's fault. I guess we grew out of love, but we are not together anymore. I don't know. It might take time to get a divorce. But then Offset did something that became one of the most talked about moments in hip-hop that year. He crashed her headlining performance at the Rolling Loud Festival in Los Angeles, complete with a cake and 2,000 white and red roses from Venus E.T. Floor, worth $15,000, displaying the message, "Take me back, Cardi." The crowd roared. Social media erupted. Cardi looked visibly uncomfortable. While Cardi seemed less than pleased with Offset's grand gesture, a month later she told the press they were working things out, and that became the rhythm of their relationship. Break, music, reconcile, repeat are a pattern that would last for years, carrying them through the births of more children and ever-escalating public drama. Every time it seemed like the end, it wasn't until it was. In July 2024, Cardi B filed for divorce from Offset for the second time. Her rep told the press, "This is not based on any one particular incident. It has been a long time coming and is amicable." One day after filing, she announced she was pregnant with her third child, a dramatic pairing of endings and beginnings that only Cardi B could orchestrate with such precision. The timing of the youngest daughter Blossom's birth is particularly sensitive, as Cardi filed for divorce in July 2024 and announced her pregnancy just one day later. Her pregnancy came with significant challenges. Just before giving birth, she opened up about a freak accident that nearly resulted in the loss of her unborn child. "I was going down the stairs and I slipped a little. I practically fell, but I was trying to prevent myself from falling. So I was holding myself on the railing. My foot still slipped and I kind of busted my arse," she told her fans. "I felt a weird jerk, like a pop, and I couldn't get up really. I noticed that I couldn't really walk, like I was feeling pain in in the lower part of my stomach." She gave birth to Blossom in September 2024, a period that should have been about recovery, bonding, and new life. Instead, it became the backdrop for a new phase of warfare between her and Offset. Then came the CPS incident. Music. Someone placed a prank call that sent Child Protective Services to Cardi's home around 11 p.m. "So I want to make this very effing clear, and I can't even breathe right now," she said in a live video. CPS allegedly came to her home after receiving a call about concern for the well-being and physical safety of the 3 children she shares with Offset. She confirmed that no one has ever hit her children, noting that their happiness and safety are prioritized above all else. She vowed to hire a private investigator to find whoever was responsible and to sue them into oblivion. This was the moment that something inside Cardi visibly shifted. The allegations she would make after this point grew darker, more detailed, and far more alarming. In late October 2024, she went on a social media tear that shocked even her most dedicated followers. Cardi wanted to make it clear that she has nothing positive to say about the Migos member, and even hinted towards wishing him death. "Bro, I wish the worst on this man," she asserted. When a fan suggested she ease up on the father of her children, she responded, "Yeah, he is. That's why I don't wish him death. But I truly hate this dirty and narcissistic piece of shit." She also called out Offset's family and friends for enabling his behavior, insisting that's why he will always remain the kind of person he is. And it wasn't just general frustration. She claimed that musician Offset didn't buy gifts for their children for Christmas in 2024. "You just called your daughter for the first time this year, yesterday," she said. "You're newborn. You love your kids so much and you didn't buy them anything for Christmas. Music. But you came to New York to buy your other kids gifts," adding, "But you didn't buy my kids on purpose to spite me. Mind you, we were cool. We weren't effing, but we were cool. Stop effing playing with me." Then, in March 2025, Cardi dropped the most incendiary accusations yet. In a live X Spaces session, Music, she alleged a pattern of behavior that went far beyond infidelity or pettiness. "This guy is upset that I sent his girlfriend text messages of him begging me, saying he was going to take away his life." Music. "Saying he was going to take away my life," Cardi claimed. "All that shit, he was mad. Mind you, he sent text messages to somebody I was dealing with of videos of him and me having sex. That's the kind of negativity that I was dealing with for the past 2 months." To Music, she alleged that Offset had been sending their explicit private videos to a man she was romantically involved with, leaving voicemails designed to shatter her emotionally. Music, and collaborating with gossip bloggers to destroy her public image. She said he has bombarded her with voicemails aiming to emotionally break her down. "He harasses me, leaves me voicemails, and tries to lower my self-esteem," she stated. Music. The picture she painted was of a man who refused to let her move on and would use any weapon available, emotional, digital, psychological, to keep her locked in the chaos. The spousal support filing is what triggered the rant heard around the world. Offset cited financial problems and asked the court to issue a spousal support order to Cardi B. Although he did not specify the amount, the filing marked a turning point in the flow of their divorce process. For Cardi, this was an act of betrayal that eclipsed everything that had come before. Here was a woman who, as of 2026, is estimated to be worth around $100 million, running a sold-out tour behind her album Am I the Drama, launching a haircare line called Grow Good, and raising 4 children, 3 of them with the man now asking her to pay his bills. As of 2026, Cardi is estimated to be worth around $100 million. However, with her ongoing tour, as well as her hair business venture Grow Good, she is set to be boosted even more. Offset, meanwhile, was dealing with a very different financial reality. Offset is estimated to be worth around $40 million. However, if recent claims of his owing people money are true, he could be worth a lot less now. With nearly $2 million in tax liens, music and allegations from various celebrities claiming he owes them money, the request for spousal support looked, at least to Cardi and her fans, like a desperate music grab. Cardi also alleged that she amended her divorce filing to remove her request for child support in order to speed music up the legal process. "I didn't ask for no child support because I want to be done with this marriage," she said. "I feel like I'm tied up." The next escalation came from the courtroom itself. A court order dated February 25, 2026, obtained by TMZ, revealed that Offset had asked the judge to mandate DNA testing for 2 children. The court reportedly granted a paternity test for 1 child, but refused his request to test Cardi B's newborn. A term used in the filing and widely music, understood to refer to the baby she welcomed with NFL star Stefon Diggs in November 2025. That's right. Music Offset was trying to get a DNA test for a child that isn't even alleged to be his, the baby Cardi had with Stefon Diggs after their relationship went music public in mid-2025. Offset's decision to formally question the paternity of the children appears to be music, the point of no return for Cardi, who has requested primary custody. The judge also imposed a restriction barring Cardi and Offset from making disparaging or defamatory remarks about each other on social media, music, or in interviews, a gag order on 2 of the most vocal, publicly combustible figures in all of entertainment. And then, on April 6, 2026, the entire narrative took yet another turn. Offset was shot near the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida. Per his spokesperson, music. Offset is fine and is currently at the hospital receiving medical care. The Seminole Police Department reported that the shooting occurred around 7 p.m. on April 6th. According to police, the incident began with a fight in the valet area of the casino. Music authorities detained 2 individuals at the scene, including rapper Lil Che, who was charged with disorderly conduct and traffic music violations. However, Lil Che's lawyer denied his involvement in the shooting. And as of April 10, 2026, police have not yet charged anyone with the shooting itself. Offset was released from the hospital on April 10, 2026. He posted on Instagram saying he was good and music planning to be better. His spokesperson said he was up and walking, and the team expressed gratitude to the hospital staff. The shooting carried a grim echo. Offset's Migos bandmate, Music Takeoff, whose real name was Kirshnik Kari Ball, was fatally shot in November 2022. Takeoff died at 28 after being killed outside a bowling alley music in Houston. That tragedy had already shaken the hip-hop world and left Offset visibly devastated. Now, just music 3 years later, he found himself in a hospital bed for the same kind of violence. Music. And Cardi, the woman who had publicly wished for his slow demise just months earlier, reportedly checked in on him. On April 6, 2026, Offset was reportedly injured in a shooting outside a Florida casino. In a move that surprised many, Cardi B reportedly put aside bitterness over the divorce to check on his well-being. That detail, small as it may seem, reveals the knot of contradictions at the center of this entire saga. There's a temptation with a story like this to declare a villain and a victim, to wrap it neatly in a judgment, and move on. But the reality of Cardi B and Offset's relationship defies that kind of simplicity. Music. This is a story with layers, contradictions, and wounds that cut in more than one direction. What we know for certain is that Cardi B, multiple times, across multiple platforms, over the course of more than a year, expressed wishes for harm to come to Offset. She said she wanted him to die slowly. Music had to get hit by a truck, to suffer. She framed these statements within a specific context, a man who she said was harassing her and stalking her, threatening murder-suicide, sabotaging her new relationships with explicit material, neglecting Music, their children, refusing to visit, skipping Christmas, and then having the audacity to ask her for money. If even a fraction of those allegations are true, her fury becomes understandable even if the language was extreme. But Offset's side hasn't been completely silent. After the release of his solo album Kyrie, Offset revealed that the last track, Move On, is about the end of their relationship. It's about moving on peacefully, he told the Associated Press. Music. That's what the message is supposed to be, he added. It's all love and peace. I just ended the album with that, just to end that chapter, because it's time to move on. It's over and done with. When Cardi went public with Stefon Diggs, Offset responded to a comment about the couple online that read, Offset punching the air with I'm happy for her. Whether that was genuine or performative, it was a far cry from the monster that Cardi described in her rants. Meanwhile, Selena Powell claimed publicly that Offset is still hung up on Cardi. When all the cameras are down, he's not online. All this man wants to do, Music, is go gamble and talk about Cardi B all day. That's all he wants to do, Powell said. That claim, if true, paints a man consumed by a relationship he can't escape from, even when the relationship has clearly moved on without him. As of April 2026, the legal battle grinds forward. Music. As the divorce proceedings continue into the spring of 2026, the focus remains on the well-being of the children and the division of a massive joint empire. With the court now involved in the most intimate details of their family life, the rekindling fans once hoped for seems more unlikely than ever. Cardi is in the middle of her Little Miss Drama tour and was recently spotted leaving a Washington, D.C. club with Stefon Diggs after a sold-out show, reigniting reconciliation rumors between them after their brief breakup during Super Bowl weekend. Cardi left the after-party at Throw Social Censure Music and hopped in Diggs' car, erupting conversation about a possible reconciliation on social media. The sighting came nearly 2 months after things broke down between them during the Super Bowl weekend in California. She has accused Offset of being an absentee father, claiming she covers the vast majority of expenses for Culture, Wave, and Blossom. But Music, and that Offset has only seen Blossom a handful of times since her birth, and yet she checked on him after the shooting. Despite the vitriol and the DNA demands, the bond between these two remains bafflingly resilient. That might be the truest thing anyone has said about this entire situation. These are two people bound, and not by affection anymore, but by children, by history, by a shared empire that is being split apart in public view. Cardi said she wants him dead. She also can't fully let him go. He said he wants to move on peacefully. He also allegedly can't stop reaching out, can't stop monitoring, can't stop trying to maintain control over a life that left him behind. The title of this video asks why Cardi B believes Offset Music deserves to die. The answer she gave is not singular. It's an accumulation. Years of infidelity, years of reconciliation, a divorce that was supposed to be amicable turning into a war over money. custody, paternity, and pride. Allegations of harassment, emotional manipulation, and explicit material being weaponized. A man who, according to her, doesn't visit his children, doesn't support them financially, and then demands the court force her to pay him. Whether every accusation is accurate, whether Offset is the person Cardi describes, or whether the truth sits somewhere in the shattered middle of two very different versions of the same story, that's something only the courts and time will ultimately determine. What we do know is this: the relationship that started with two people holding hands at a Super Bowl, making spontaneous decisions to get married on a random September morning, has turned into one of the most painful public breakdowns in modern entertainment, and neither of them seems anywhere close to being done.